Dasdamore says, you said past Wild Heart members didn't make an effort contributing songs. No, they haven't. Given the choice, would you prefer members brought in completed songs, or would you prefer sitting down and writing songs together from scratch? Well, I would have obviously wanted to sit down and write with them. I would have liked them to come with some ideas, a chorus, so anything. And then we would have wrestled through and come up with a song that I thought was, it's no secret, I've got more experience in writing than someone who just came in with, I haven't got a whole song, but I've got a chorus. But I've got enough experience to be able to know a good chorus and how to flesh it out to make a full song of it. I didn't expect the Wild Hearts members to come back with completed songs. I never did. I just wanted them to get involved in the creative process, which they never did. And every now and again, CJ would come up with a song or two, like one usually. And he would re-recorded in his studio, so it would be a finished song. So we all can we just rearrange it for a little bit? But it would come with a finished song. But again, just it's one of those things where some people don't write songs. What can you do? You can't expect things from people if it's not what they do. And I'd adopt that kind of mantle, and then as soon as that person left the Wild Hearts, they'd end up writing loads of fucking songs. Happened with Danny with the Yo-Yos. He ended up writing a fucking Yo-Yos album. I'm like, where were those ideas when I was asking for them? And CJ is fucking writing more songs than I am now. Where were those ideas when I needed them? Not that it fucking bothers me. I'm glad that I get 100% publishing or 99% publishing. Swings and roundabouts, whatever. It was a pain in the arse at the time, but it's paying dividends now. What can you do? God opens a window, closes a door, and lights a fire and takes his shoes off and all that. But yeah, I would have liked to have sat down and wrote songs with the guys just to put a little bit of their personality into the song. I'm not a control freak, and I definitely don't need to be bullying people as far as writing songs is concerned, because I've got more experience writing songs than probably anyone I'm ever going to meet. And that doesn't say anything about anything other than I write a lot of songs, so it wouldn't be a competition from my part anyway. Question from Paul is, I've been catching up on the podcast recently, and it's really good to hear you sounding happy, enthused and positive about the upcoming material and your life in general. Yeah, thank you, Paul. It fucking feels good as well. Question for you then. You've made no secret of your love for New York, and Spider-Man has been mentioned a few times in your lyrics and on the podcast. Did one lead to another, or is it simply two areas of your life that came intertwined? Interesting. I don't know. Sorry, it's been a while. I don't know. What comes first? Chickens or eggs? I probably loved New York, but got into bands like Kiss and Ramones and got into things like Spider-Man because of my love for New York? Or did my love for New York come from then? I've no idea. I think it was just a general love for that kind of gritty vibe. I used to like TV shows and films set in New York just because of the smoke coming out of the ground, and the back alleys would always have them crazy stairs that in metal boxes and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? There'd be a cat sitting on a bin with a fucking fish bone in its mouth and all these little things that you just, that's cool. Oh, it's all in New York. Great. I think I just like New York and everything else fit around it. But I don't know. Impossible to tell. And there's certain bands that I've loved, and I didn't even know they were from New York. There's a band called Parts and Labour, which sound like they're from Scotland. And then I find out they're from New York. I think it makes perfect fucking sense. The thing about New York is it's such a breeding ground because it's so cosmopolitan, but successfully so. You don't have different segregated cultures in their own place. You've got a Chinatown, obviously, and you've got places that Polish people will move to, but for the most part, everyone is everywhere. You walk down the street and there's fucking every single person of every nomination, and they're no longer Chinese, and they're no longer Indian, and they're no longer West Indian, and they're no longer African. They're fucking New Yorkers. And that's one of the beautiful things. There's many beautiful things about New York, but probably the most beautiful thing is how successfully cosmopolitan it is. Everyone there is a New Yorker. And that's something that stuck with me from being a little kid all the way through my life, really. I like that sense of belonging to a place that, we spoke about this in the song Northern Spirit, where it's about being part of the atmosphere of the place you are. It could be where you're from, it could be where you've moved to. People find a home or they stay at home. But that pride, that feeling of belonging, wherever you are, you're home, because when you're not there, it feels weird. I found my home in the countryside. I wasn't born in a fucking field. I wish I was, but I wasn't. But Oh, that's what my mum used to say all that when you leave a fucking door open. David, were you born in a field? Doesn't make any sense. Well, like, I don't know how to close a door because I was born in a field. I know how to close a fucking door. Anyway, I don't know what came first. Yeah, I love New York and I love the atmosphere. I loved being there. And the funny thing is, you go to New York at any time and people will probably say, oh, it's changed. It used to be much better. It used to be much different. And people still say that now. But New York's fantastic. But it's one of the places where if I was ever going to move from the countryside, I probably would move to New York, just because if I'm going to be around people, I might as well be around the fucking epicenter of where people behave like New Yorkers. And I can't think of anywhere else in the world that's quite like that. Number 2, where do you stand on seeking original artist permission for cover versions? If I remember correctly, Hüsker Dü tagged Therapy for seeking permission, but Weird Al wouldn't do his parody covers without it. Or Hüsker Dü slagged Therapy. Fuck, I thought it said tagged. Slagged Therapy? I don't think that's true. I can't imagine. Who knows? Maybe Grant Hart, because he was into drugs, might have been a little bit neuro-spicy, but I don't ask any original artists for permission. You don't have to. I mean, obviously, if I knew them or it ever came into the picture that they were available to ask, oh, I quite fancy doing one of your songs, Bob Mould. Would you mind that? To which Bob Mould would presumably say no. Send me a copy. But you don't, for the most part, have to concern yourself about stuff like that. And for a lot of the songs I pick for cover versions tend to be so obscure, you probably could never, ever get in touch with the artist, whether or not they're alive or dead. So yeah, I see cover versions as being a homage. I'm honoured to be able to present this song to anyone who might not have heard it. And to be honest, my whole concern is it's such a great song. I can't wait for you to hear it and check out the original. And it's more for my relationship with the song going to you than my relationship with the song going back to the original writer, if that sounds weird. But that's usually my raison d'etre for doing anything like that, is to spread the word of music as far and wide as far as it'll go. So yeah, I wouldn't, that's funny that, Hüsker Dü slag Therapy off for seeking permission. Well, who knows? There's that fucking, it's the music industry. When you hear anything like this, it's usually the fucking agents and the managers and the fucking publishers and the labels, not the artists. I don't think artists really care. It's flattering if someone does a song or likes a song of yours, but it's not what they think about. It's what people who want to make money out of this situation think about. How can we get litigious on someone's ass? And there was that thing of Olivia Rodrigo, who did a song called Brutal, and everyone wanted to take her to the cleaners because it sounded a little bit like Pump It Up by Elvis Costello, and they were ready. I imagine the court date was probably even in process, and it got back to Elvis Costello, and Elvis Costello said, "Don't be fucking stupid. It's a song. We're not going to press charges on anyone," meaning that he probably copied it off Subterranean Homesick Blues by Bob Dylan, who probably copied that of someone. So yeah, in the industry, we're in the position of copying things, not trying to make money from people who also copy things. Number 3 question by Paul is, I recently saw 9 Inch Nails at Manchester. My only disappointment was the songs they didn't play. How much does fan expectations come into planning your live sets? What's your favourite soup? I don't know if I have a favourite soup. Oh yeah, there's a hot and spicy Thai soup full of bits of meat and seafood that I really love. Really like that. How much? It's all down to you lot when I put live shows together. I know I gather a lot of artists don't pay much attention to what the audience want. And I suspect that's because they've got enough money. Not that it's all to do with money, but I think when you get some money, you get a different kind of elevated idea of who you are in this deal. Like, you can do what you want and people will still turn up. Whereas people like me, I still realise that I want you to come back. You know what I mean? I want you to tell people it was great. I don't want you leaving there and going, oh, they didn't play this and they didn't play that. Which you're going to anyway. Because there's always some songs we don't play that people complain you didn't play it. You didn't stay on stage for a week and a half and do every single song that I like. But I've said this before, but being on tour with Motorhead and seeing Lemmy, without fail, play Ace of Spades every night, and then you go, oh God, that must be boring. And then you see the audience just fucking explode, and he's like, I'm not doing the song because I love the song, I'm doing the song because of that. I want you lot to do that. And that's the way I figure it. If it's a song you really love and I'm a bit bored of playing it, but I know you do that, happy days, man. You expect to hear that song in the set. And then there's some songs that you just like, but you don't do much. And I don't enjoy playing it. I say, well, there's a happy medium. Scrap that one and put in a song that either you like or I like. But I'm aware that this is a transaction. We're trying to share something here. We're there to bring you some joy, some fun, some entertainment, and you're there to make us feel like you appreciate it. And 9 times out of 10, that works because we play songs that you know. Obviously, when you do a new album, you just want to fill the whole set with new songs. You're excited about these brand new things that you've recorded, and you also know, being a fan of music and being to as many live gigs as I've been to, that is the most boring thing in the world for a band to do. Unless you're some kind of experimental band like Grateful Dead or Fish, Phish, not Fish from Marillion. And you pride yourself on the live experience. I think Pearl Jam are a bit like that, aren't they? The live experience is sacrosanct and it's nothing to do with the record. I'm old school. I think that, the record is something you buy until you get a chance to see the band come back to town and play again. The record's a promise. Some new songs, so you're still active and you're still doing stuff, but it's a promise. I'll see you later. Buy this and we'll do some songs from it. It's the way I've always saw it anyway. And when we play, I want to go where the people go. Just people start dancing. Sucker punch. People start dancing. Do I get excited personally about the thought of playing either of those songs? Of course not. But I get excited by the idea of turning up and you lot being entertained. Fuck, man. That is what it's all about for me. At the end, as far as I'm concerned, you are the show. You are the boss. You've always been the boss. You tell me if I'm doing well. You tell me if I've got a job next year. Not the fucking industry, and not the way that other bands compose themselves. So yeah, you will always hear band. Here's a problem. You'll always hear the songs that go down well live. You probably never hear all the songs that you want to hear. That's a fair trade. That's a good deal. And the black sands of time have run out, which must mean that that's the end of another podcast. And it's been another good one because it hasn't felt like an hour. Although Phil's saying we can do some more questions. So I take it he means that he's got a lot of editing to do on this one. So we'll answer another couple. Being as the sands of time can get fucked, they're not the boss of me. As I said, you are. Alexandra says, they say every band has a cute band member. I'm going straight to the source to find out who the cute wild heart is. Charles, innit? I think it's Charles. Charles is the one that gets stopped, usually by men. That's the weird thing with Charles. He's almost impossibly good looking, impossibly tall, with impossibly massive hair. But he usually gets guys going up to him going like, oh, you must be the singer. And he's like, no, the drummer. Oh, you look like the singer. So you must be the good looking one's not the singer then. It's quite nice and homoerotic in a certain way. But I would definitely say that the cute band member is Charles. We're all cute. Maggie's the cute band member. But yeah, as far as human beings are concerned, in the traditional sense of the word cute, got to be him. Phil asks, in your podcast that you ranked your solo albums, Teeth was missed out. Was that intentional? Where would you rank it? I was only ranking the solo albums that came out. There's a few albums that haven't really come out that I haven't ranked. It's a couple of them. There's one album that I wrote that I never recorded. It was a really good record, but it never came out. So the only reason why Teeth is not there is because it wasn't commercially available. And until it comes out on a physical thing, it don't count as far as I'm concerned. Matthias from Greece asks, it's another long one. Have you ever listened back to one of your songs and realised that any parts of it sound like someone else's song? Yes. Perhaps something that you were listening to at the time that you were writing, it earwormed itself into your brain and then ultimately in the song. Yes, it happens. It happens. And it's never, ever intentional. Quite obviously, there's no way I would go into a studio with a song that I was like, well, this is ripped off. I hope no one finds out. And 9 times out of 10, no one does find out. Or I go in there with an idea for a song and think, oh, it's a little bit close. And then even to my ears, I can't even hear where it came from. But every now and again, you'll go back and listen to stuff. And it's not usually listening to my songs. It's listening to other people's songs. And I had this a few years ago when I went through a Hüsker Dü phase. I love Hüsker Dü all the time, obviously, but I went through a phase where all I could listen to was Hüsker Dü. So I should get drunk morning, noon and night and put on all my Hüsker Dü albums, get to the end, start again. And it just went like that for fucking days. And in that process, I realised how many Hüsker Dü parts I've stolen. And it's not like parts, he's probably stolen them from the Byrds or something, but I'm not a Byrds fan. I'm a Hüsker Dü fan. And I know that chord progression, as much as it 8 Miles High might resemble, I got it from Bob Mould or Grant Hart. And at that point, I find it quite sweet, comforting that their art, their expression entered my DNA on a molecular level and inspired me to write beyond even remembering that it was them. And the same with parts of Replacements and Big Black and Cheap Trick, Ramones, Kiss even. It all features in there, but not if I'm listening to my song, because the intention was pure when I went in to record my song. Whereas I'm listening to their song and I can hear that got pilfered. But yeah, I didn't even realise how many Hüsker Dü songs I've not ripped off, been inspired by. And again, I could be sitting here with Bob Mould and put my hands up and just go, none of it was to try and make any money from your name. It was purely, I'm a huge fan and your influence seeped into my creative process. And he'd be like, yep, I know. Doesn't it happen? This is from Matthias from Greece again. Do you remember the Ed Sheeran court case where he was accused of stealing the hook from Sam Shockley's? Ed won as the judge ruled he did not plagiarise the song, that all similarities were coincidental due to the limited number of notes and chords in pop music. What are your thoughts on this? And has anyone copied any of your hooks? If so, do you mind? Yes, people have copied my hooks. No, I don't mind. I don't even know if they were aware of it. I know that Turbo Negro had a song called Drenched in Blood, which was very similar to Justin Lust. Similar to the point of like that. It's definitely a lot like that. But I met up with Turbo Negro some time later, and Tom said he's not a Wild Arts fan. He'd never sat and listened to the song, but he must have heard it on the radio and he must have liked it and it must have went into his brain. And I just, again, saw that as being the biggest compliment that someone could pay you, really. I heard a song of yours, don't give a shit about your band, but the song was so good it went into your very blueprint and came back out in one of your songs. I just find that really flattering. I don't know about the Ed Sheeran case. I don't know what song it was. But again, all of this limited number of notes, that's not the artist. That's not whoever Sam Cooke or Sam Shockley or whatever that person is. I don't suppose that person was on the phone to their lawyer going, Ed Sheeran has just taken one of my fucking songs. It was the managers, it was the agents, it was the label, it was the fucking parasites on the edges of this whole thing. The people that, see, the music industry is a relatively new thing, the industry. Music, obviously, is as ancient as fucking time itself, even older. But the monetization of it, the parasites, the leeches, that's a relatively new thing. So the 50s or maybe the 40s. It's not even a century old, but they're still there and they've still got the cutlery sets and they're still waiting for someone to do something. They might just make some money. It's got fuck all to do with music. And you'll find, I don't know who Ed Sheeran, who he is. I know who he is, but I don't know the guy's personality. But I would imagine that he's a music fan. He doesn't care about he wouldn't be able to write songs if it was all about the money, but he doesn't care about someone doing something that sounds like Ed Sheeran. And there's probably, let's face it, a lot more people copying him than he is copying other people. It's never the musicians, it's the people around them that will do anything, drop at anything, get on their hands and knees for a penny, just anything to make some money from this. And making money in this business is seldom to do with music itself. So yeah, I don't think anyone minds anyone ripping off anyone's songs. If anything, if you're the sort of musician that doesn't find it flattering, then you're probably a bit of a twat, and I hope you don't get any money in court, and long may your songs suck. This has been me for another lovely Friday. I've really enjoyed this one. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and don't touch that dial. Stay with us. We're worth it, and so are you. God bless you. Bye.